Okay, Ming here. I've got a cool collab for you. This is Stable Diffusion Infinity collab. It's not mine, but I will provide the link for it in the description below this video, so please check it out. It's kind of cool because the image that you're looking at right now, it took a lot of work. It actually came from this one picture. That was it. That was what I rendered out of Stable Diffusion with certain prompts that I was working on. So I wanted a bigger picture. So what I did was I dug around and I found a Stable Diffusion Infinity. Basically, it allows you to have an infinite canvas that you can then outpaint on, and you can see the result. This is what I got doing that. So from that tiny little 512 by 512 picture, I produced this, which is a much larger representation and doesn't look too bad. This microphone is not part of that, so this, just so you know. And this has a story all its own. I won't go into exactly what that story is. That's for short stories that I have that I'm working on. So what we're doing is we're going to go and look at Stable Diffusion Infinity. The Colab here, essentially, if you haven't run the Colab before, check my other video. I'll put another link in the description, or should be at the end of this video also, on my program that shows my video on how to run Colabs. Because I want to run this fast for you, I'm running this on Google Colab Pro. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to change my runtime, make sure it's on premium and high RAM, and I'm going to click save. And basically all I'm going to do here, I just hit run all, because that's really all that's required for this particular one. That's going up into the file menu up there. It says runtime, then run all, or you just simply go through here and you just click each one after the other. Right now I've got an A100 with 40 gigabytes of RAM, really fast. You will find on the free version, which I was working on a lot this morning, to get this image behind me took a lot longer because I was doing it in the free version of Google Colab. It's much faster than it would be on my Mac M1. I think it gave me a T4 processor up there, which isn't a slouch. But this stuff really is a worker. It demands a lot of RAM and really depends on what you're using it for. In this particular case, I'll show you some of the pros and cons. What it's doing right now is it's just running everything, all the Python code behind it. And there we go. We get to the end here, and this is what we're looking for. We're running on public URL. And of course, these change every time you get done with it. So by the time you see this, that'll be completely gone. And I'm going to just click on that, and it's going to open it up into a new tab. And this is the part where you enter in your Hugging Face token. If you don't have a Hugging Face token, and you do have models, checkpoint models already on your Google Drive, then you just need to go back, open up your Google Drive. You would click on that side panel, and up here, you'll see that little folder with the Mount Drive. You'll click on that, and then once that comes out, you'll scroll down to find your models or the model folder. Then you'll go to the side position here, the three dots. You'll go copy path, and you'll paste that into this area here, because this is your custom model path. Now, I'm going to just run from pulling it off of Hugging Face, get my token. And again, procuring a token is free. Hugging Face is pretty cool with that. That's pretty neat that they do that. So here we go. I'm going to paste that in. I use the Stable Diffusion in Painting plus the image to image. I can do just the Stable Diffusion in Painting because that's really all I use. But I use this because it has the option for the image to image too. We're going to just click to set up. It may take a while. It'll take a lot longer with the free version, slower machine, but this should go fairly quickly. It's got to download the 1.5 model from Hugging Face. And so you can see in the background what it's actually doing is it's starting to add its own sample data and other files into folders here along the side. These are folders that will disappear when you quit and kill the program. And there we are. There's our canvas. So one of the first things we're going to do, it automatically puts it in here, CV2NS. This is the mode for how it extracts information to create the new material. Patchmatch is otherwise used. That's not too bad. I've tried the other ones. Different scenes may require different one of these. So you may want to test those. Strength, I'm going to leave at 75. The number of steps is how deep it's going to render. So 25 will be much faster and should get you something worthy. 50 is kind of the middling, and it's actually not bad. I'm going to pull in an image. So we go over here to upload image. This is the image that I'm working with. Now I'm going to expand my canvas. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. So this shows you that I can keep doing this. They weren't kidding. It's an infinite canvas. The only thing that is not infinite is your memory and the memory on your graphics card. So your memory on your main machine. Right now I'm using Google Chrome. It's kind of important to use Chrome. You can probably use Firefox. It works. Safari doesn't work. So Safari hangs. Safari doesn't import. So anytime that you have a problem on a Mac and something's not working in your, like an application that you're using for a web browser application, that sort of thing, and it's not working in Safari, get Chrome. Chrome usually makes everything work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just situate this here somewhere in this frame. I'm going to just hit confirm. Then I have a bounding box here. This box basically is something that's going to be filling in the extra material. I also have an eraser. So when I go to erase something, which I'm going to have to do because you may not see it, but there is an actual white border. When this was rendered initially in Stable Diffusion, it produced a white border. So I am going to go through here and kill this white border. Because if I don't do that, then all of my subsequent render attempts with new material will be based off of that white border, and it's going to throw off everything that you're trying to do. There's a little text that it put in there too, and so I'm dumping that as well. I'm going to leave that like that. So that's basically taking the eraser tool. Now, the prompt here, you can do two things. One is you can have it interrogate. You just go up through here, and it will go through, and it's going to process based on what it thinks is in the scene, and it's going to give you some information. Because what you need to do is you need to describe what you want on the outside of this frame, outside of this picture. Fortunately, knowing exactly what prompts I used, I'm going to be able to insert that in the description. However, I'm just curious to see what it comes up with. Okay, a cross is shown in the middle of a picture, a detailed matte painting by blah, 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 CJ Society Net Art Matte Painting, DeviantArt HD logo. Okay, well, it sees something on a chest, probably thinks that's a logo. We're just going to kill that. I only need what's going to be on the background here. So I can almost do away with everything that it thinks is here. I'm going to get rid of that cross. I don't know the artist here, so I would have to research the artist. Not looking to do that right at the moment. CG Society, Net Art. I'm going to just leave matte painting, Deviant Art HD. Well, we'll leave it in there. We will do spaceport on Alien World. Okay, so detailed matte painting, DeviantArt HD, spaceport on Alien World. Now, I'll probably get rid of DeviantArt HD, but we're going to just see what that does. So the scheduler here to PLMS, DDIM is usually, or DDIM is usually a really good one. That's probably what I used on the initial rendering of it, so I'm going to put that into play. Guidance basically tells you how close to adhere to what I say here. So if I crank this guidance up to 15 or 20, that means be really strict exactly to these words. I'm not looking for that because I want to see what it creates, what else it gives me as far as an idea of what's on the boundaries here. I've got my own ideas. I've got a story built around this, but we're going to see. And what I'm going to do, and this is where you're going to encounter some of your memory problems. I've had that happen today, and that's why I know. Because what I would do is I would take this resize selection, because I wanted to do a lot of it at once. Oops, let's go back and do it again. Cancel, resize selection. You really got to grab the corner. There we go. And made it really big, and then do confirm. So, and it takes a lot longer to render when you do that. What you want to do is you want to include, at least a third of your frame in there so that it has something to pull from it. If you really go right to the edge and stuff, you won't always get the best blurred response between, edge blur. It's just in practice on this. I'm going to leave it big here so you can see what that does. I've got samples set to 5. So what it will do, I'm going to do it to 6, is it's going to do 6 iterations, different scenes, and we're going to choose from that 6. We'll see if it can generate a problem. And then I just go to Outpaint. Okay, so I'm using this information. She's not in there. I'm not affecting her, so I don't need to describe her. I just basically want the rest of the scene. And I'm going to hit Outpaint. It says the canvas stays locked until you accept or cancel current outpainting. You can modify the sample number to get multiple results. You can resize the canvas selection with, there we go, out of memory. Okay, so tried to allocate 16, 39 gigabytes total capacity. So first way. Okay, so you can change that by 2 things. You can reduce your sample number. So if I go down to 3 and we just hit Outpaint, let's see if we get that again. Will we get it? Will we get it? Good process. The other thing that you would do is you would shrink that square. You'd make that much smaller. I think it's going to work. Now, it's taken a lot longer even on this fast graphics machine right now through the Google Google Colab Pro, which tells you a lot. Okay, so we're going to go see. Ooh, that's interesting. That is really interesting. Hmm. Don't like it though. So you can cycle through here. You can just have it retry and do it over again. What I'm doing is I'm going to reset I'm going to hit cancel. I'm going to resize this selection. Go back to something more manageable and we will confirm it at that. Sample size 3. We should be able to go up to 6 maybe. Give that a try. Should go a lot faster. And again, all of this process, just so you remember, is to go from this tiny little picture to that giant scene that I've got there. Okay, so it came up and it produced some good images. Let's see, number 6 of those. Nice. It helps when you already have an idea of where you want this to go because then it's, even though it's generating some things for you, you can change anything in that scene. And as an artist, you want to, it's like photo bashing. You're basically taking elements of a lot of different photos and you're assembling them and you're creating accurate shadow balance, color lighting, and so forth, balance all between the new elements that you're adding and so forth. It's a lot of work, but you can produce some stunning results. So, but it usually starts with an idea and what you have in your head. Now, I do like the elements down here, these extra little buggers. I don't like all the planets here. We'll go to number 5. I like the cloud system. That's kind of cool. Yeah, we're going to go with this. And the reason I'm going with this, even though I don't like it fully, I'm going to just leave it on that. I'm going to click accept, is because I can go through here and we will go and erase what I don't want in there. It is I do have, this probably wouldn't be going this slow, except I'm recording the screen. I'm running several programs. I've got DaVinci Resolve in the background. I'll explain why in a little bit. So basically, I'm just cutting this out. I'm going to cut that out too. And all I'm going to do is outpaint. Everything seems to be the same. Spaceport on an alien world, 6 iterations. Let's go and outpaint for me. But you can see it's a beautiful transition, really smooth, and that's what you get with this. Patch match actually doesn't do a bad job either, so test it to your own end. The FAQ on the photometric correction mode is hit or miss, so they said use it at your own risk, so I don't use it. We've got an alien creatures, okay. Interesting, but different and wrong perspective. Okay. Okay, I don't like any of those, so I'm going to just go somewhere else for the moment. I'm going to just have it work on this area, and we will again go down to 5 and outpaint. And again, each one of these is going through 50 steps. If you've worked in Stable Diffusion, you know that 50 steps is a chunk of time. I don't like how it's interpreting this as a separate element. Oh, I will cancel that. I'm going to actually go down to 25, and you should see this double in speed. Detail map painting. This is what I'm going to do, is make this dry desert landscape and be without paint. So 25 steps, 5 samples, should go much faster. C is whether or not it actually looks good. The resolution is what happens, and what I mean by a resolution is its particular resolve when resolving an image. You know, I'm gonna leave this in there because the thing is she's collecting soil samples. So we're gonna do that. There's a reason that there's something there. I'm gonna click that. I'll paint again. And again, 25 wasn't too bad. When you blow it up, you may see a little more grain. Maybe not as much detail or refined process in there. But I'm trying to do this so we get through it. Yeah, I didn't like that. So let's go to patch match and let's do outpaint off of that. Okay, so here's where you're going to see some of that difference in resolution, a difference in the process. So between the patch match and there, this one is actually doable, but there is a fine line through here. So you could either take that in Photoshop later and work that out, or continue to erase it and have it reproduce it here. It's smoother. You know, let's go to Gaussian and we're going to retry. I'm actually going to reduce this to 4 because I don't need as many. So that you can see. This is why I don't use the Gaussian. Okay, so let's go back to the CVN2 and we'll retry. This pose is a typical quote unquote feminine pose. For my purposes, I needed a reference for the background and so forth and size. So it actually worked out well, but that isn't something I would use. You know, we're going to cancel that and make sure that this might be why. We just kind of mess with the edge a little bit. Run that again. We're set there, and I'll paint. Knowing exactly what this was didn't help me because I didn't save it but prior to this video. Oh, okay, nice, nice. So, yeah, hit cancel. Make sure that it's not running because otherwise, clearly, it runs on the same one. Okay, these are right there. Ah, yeah. Nope, that's the one. Right up through here. Paint. And again, you can run these at 20 steps, and that's not bad. Oh, these are nice. Okay. The first one is doable because you have to run what's actually in the image, how well it works with the rest of it. I shall accept that. I have a feeling I'm gonna need to change some of this stuff that's coming up, and we will find out. I will run this at 20 and I'll paint it just so you can see. Clearly that's not what I want. This has potential. This also has potential. If I leave this in here, I would delete this, and because then that takes on a life of its own with something else. It's more of a craggy entrance to a cave type setup. We can't go with the mountainous area. I wanted that to be more of a strange clouds. I do like this. We're going to leave that in there. A lot of what's going on here can be done with your normal photos. I'm going to let you see. This is something I did. Basically, this is the original photo on the left. And this was taken a long time ago because I was going to alpha channel her out, basically take in Photoshop, remove the background, and put her in another scene. Well, I did remove her out, the background from her, put her in here, and you can see it did actually chop off. The photo wasn't as great. But this type of a program for outpainting which all of this was done in an outpainting program. I think I just used Stable Diffusion just before I found this one. And it actually put that in there. It gave her a backpack because of what I wanted. I started typing in, I wanted a certain type of backpack. I wanted carabiners on there. I wanted her hand with a gun. I wanted, on a rocky cliff near a falls. Basically, I took this in DaVinci Resolve and color graded. That's basically the setup for the grade. If you're interested in that, let me know. I'll go through that sort of thing. But you can see what it does. I mean, from this to this, you can put people in all sorts of scenes. It's really, really engaging. And the cool part about it is each human individual who approaches this as an artist produces something that is unique to their experiences and how their brain forms from their experiences and genetic influences and so forth as well, and their own innate desire to produce something creative and bring it into the world from their perspective. It doesn't matter that all of this is coming out and there are now thousands and hundreds of thousands of people just hopping on this and just producing stuff. Artists will still have to do the work. They will still have to bring up the composition from their mind, and they will still have to produce a work that is much different than somebody just typing in a prompt and just leaving the expression out there. And some of these things can be produced really beautifully, but is it coherent with that unique individual's perspective? So I can go on about that because I have artist friends who are reeling with this in one way or another. I think it's a valuable insight for their experiences as well. Some of them are just all on board and love this. It takes off the workload. The workload is reduced. That's the biggest part about this for producing and iterating work. Ooh, there we go. There's my craggy rocks, but not quite as good as I wish. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cancel that. I'm going to move this over so it picks up the rock a bit more. And that way it will start creating more of a rocky influence, hopefully, over the top of that. Not like that, it isn't. And we'll do it again. Retry. And this is the thing, like anything worthwhile, it takes time. Even with something that cuts off and shaves off a lot of time here, we're still bound by processor speed and our own patience with a project. Okay, this is Desert Alien Landscape. I'm going to change that. Cave entrance. So at times, you may need to change your description to make sure it doesn't adhere to the same thing as you move through the image frame or frame by frame, because different parts will produce different. That kind of works. We're going to accept that. And again, the nice thing about this is just like in editing for novels, poetry, for working on any artistic paintings and so forth, sculpting is it's not set in stone. I mean, unless you're actually working in stone as a sculptor. I worked in clay, so clay is a lot more forgiving. There we go. That works well and that works well there. We're going to accept that. I'll take a look at the fourth because it still might be interesting. And accept that and go on to the next. You can change if you don't like the whole thing. Redo the whole thing. You are not bound by what is presented in the time you've been given or the time you're working on this. I want this to be more cloud-based. It's trying to take it as, but I do like the continuation up here. Retry it. And again, keep retrying. Change the description. Erase some stuff, outpaint it, and go back over and over again. It's still taking that part as the cave entrance. And I'm going to cancel that. I'm going to bring this down. I'm going to go and then I'm going to erase because it's taking this cloud system as not clouds. So as mountains. So if I delete that, we're going to see if that affects any change. It does. Not what I'm looking for, but we'll go partly cloudy skies. And retry. So it should be pulling with the description here, using what you've altered it, using what you have altered to produce it. I don't like this harsh line it's got in there. Cancel. Do patch match. And there we go. Patch match is not it. Let's do G diffuser. Okay, so cancel and outpaint. Axis don't match. So perlin. Okay, that one I can get into there. Do that. So perlin came through. This is where you have to change some of these things to assuage your impatience. That is right. Okay. And you can see there's this crisp line here, so I'll fix that later. And the nice thing about I was going to not, look at the rest, but it doesn't hurt to look at the rest. And I like the sweeping curves on this, so we're going to leave that in there. Partly cloudy skies over rough, dry, alien terrain. Okay. And I will include some of this. Let's see what perlin, let's see if it comes through and does something else for me. Seems to be going faster, so certainly I'm not disliking this. That's actually, even on the first try, that's really good. Going back to this one. So I'm going to accept that. Because my description says partly cloudy skies over rough alien terrain, I keep this moving over that area that will still be in the description and outpaint. So like I said, different init modes will produce different results, some more successful than the others. And you can see there's a line in here on this one. There we go. Ooh, that's it. Again, you're always referencing with what you've got in your head, with something that you've either written down before or wanted to produce. And if this starts matching that, then it's like, okay, now I can start reframing things. Now I can start making these closer to what I have in my head. Don't need the over rough terrain anymore. So I'm just wondering if it uses Perlin. There's an algorithm and so forth for producing procedural backgrounds and so forth, or material textures and things. If it actually uses that in its generation. Going back to my own old, on the first try, it's getting these. I'm liking, I like this blue touch that's in here. So I'm going to accept that one. I'm going to bring this down, resize my selection just a tad. When I scrunch it like this, it thins it out and makes it so I can include more. I'm going to confirm that. Again, if I wanted to shorten this, I just grab that corner and pull it in. I'm going to see if I can capture this. Partly cloudy sky. We're going to go cave entrance opening to partly cloudy skies. We'll see if that works. Perlin's working for me on this particular one. The other one that I showed you before at the beginning strictly used the CVN, CV2NS. It's not bad. I don't care if it, there we go. That worked. The nice thing about one of my artist's friend is a geologist too, one of the dirt scientists. So she'd be able to go through here and determine whether or not these would actually form in that way. Okay, so I chose the right prompt in order to get that to produce what I needed. So going back to here now, rocky alien terrain. I'm liking Perlin for this, so we're staying with it. And again, I include in this square some of that. Perlin's going to fail for me. Perlin, you were doing so well. We're going to cancel you and we're going to go to CV2 and Outpaint. Almost. Bump this up to 6 and I'm going to do it. Okay, so I don't like any of those. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to resize this selection. And I'm going to bring it closer to my alien friend here. And then I'll paint from there. Because it's drawing from this area. Essentially I want it to go from center outward. And with its, oh, there you go. That was it. I don't need foliage because that's not what we're looking at. We're going to go with this. We're going to accept this. Now, here's going to be the interesting thing. We have no feet. So we're going to see what it does if it puts a rocky crag in there or draws feet. It's nothing. Nice. Oh, nice. Dusty boots. Like that. And producing nothing beyond that. Okay. I'm taking the boots. We're going to go on from there. That was nice. I love the gradient. The cool thing about this too is when you look at the overall image, you have your blues fading off into the orange. No, this part right here. That's what I'm going with. Because again, what I've got in my head. So would you have this nice gradient, the hues shifting, and then up here you have something different. And essentially in the story there is something different going on in that area. So this works. We'll accept that. Paint. That's right on the top there. I like the slight variation. With the dust, we're going to keep that one. Back over here. And you can certainly save at various times. You can bring in other pictures. And there's a lot of things that you can do. These are too much of a perspective problem. As a way. I'm going to put, instead of rocky alien terrain, I'm going to put rough alien terrain. And then if that doesn't work, we're going to do patch match and perlin. Cancel, patch match. And the thing is, behind this is actually just working in the background. It's just processing all the data. This is an almost cancel. Let's go to perlin. I'd say no, and I would say it loud. Okay, let's go back to this, and I'm going to resize my selection here. And again, normally I would be able to just do this over and over, but I'm trying to do this and not make this a forever long video because I'm coming up on an hour of doing this already. Which is fine. There we go. That's it. So the others put too much of a perspective. This is fine. I will accept that. And with art, I mean, you could take days, weeks, it doesn't matter, to get what you want the way you want it. And that's what makes an artist different from somebody who just does something in 3 seconds, lets the computer do all the work, and they don't have a vision, they don't have something that's attuned to their own perspective and what they wanted initially. I don't mean to be cruel to people who are doing this. This opens up so many opportunities because even a complete novice coming at this can produce something that just mind blowing. That works perfect. Mind blowing and helps even the trenched in, starving, and self loathing artists, brings a new level of awareness of something that has never been done before and now can be done. There are no limits on this. And that's the really cool thing. Just the number of iterations. There we go. The potential on that is just, it's astounding. It's astounding. And that's what art is about. It's about giving everyone a new perspective. And boy, I tell you, if this doesn't give somebody a new perspective, I don't know what, what will. There we go. I don't even have to need that one. Okay, I'm not liking this part, so I'm going to erase these tracks here and let it outpaint. Ooh, definitely not liking that. There we go. Even that's in keeping with it and can reflect some of those mounds, so I'm going to keep that. And again, for this part, the CV2 works well. The clouds, I think the clouds are going to work with perlin because, like I said, I think that has something to do with the algorithms used to produce that. I like this little ball. I may kill it later, but for the moment, I enjoy it. And I will edit this down so you're not sitting there with an hour. All right. There, that's better. Go up here. Okay, right off the bat, that's fine. I need to clear this up. Partly cloudy skies. Just leave it at that. Shove it to perlin. Take my eraser because it's a little rough here. I want to have a blend of these two. Outpaint, please. It's not bad. That's better. That's it right there. Don't have to go any further. So when you look at what we did from this image and we produced that, it definitely opens the scope of what we can do, our potential. We're creating a scene, just journeying. I mean, just imagining and being somewhere else for a time, and hope that it takes other people there too. So the cool thing about this is you can also take these implements. You can change what's in her hand. You can change the helmet. You can do all these sorts of things. Again, you just erase it and produce that. So essentially you're getting the same as this type of stuff. So that's all possible with this. And again, with this. So from a tiny picture to this expansive story. I hope you enjoyed this. And please thumbs up and subscribe if you wouldn't mind. And let me know what you think. And if you have any questions, let me know. I'll do my best to help. Thank you.